Are you ready for a gangster action comedy musical? Jagame Thandhiram just landed on Netflix, so should this one be on your watch list? When a clever, carefree gangster is recruited to help an overseas crime lord take down a rival, he is caught off guard by the moral dilemmas that follow. The actor Dhanush stars in this story that has parts that feel like they were inspired by Guy Ritchie films. Dhanush plays Suruli, and he's overconfident and self-assured, but he backs it up with accomplishments. He's kind of what seems to be a wannabe gangster, and at first I thought he was kind of that fake-it-till-you-make-it guy, but he's either extremely capable or terribly lucky. He's also charismatic, but not overly so, nor is he always likable. One thing I really appreciate about him, though, is that he's very honest and upfront. You may not like him all the time, but at least we know what we're going to get. The cinematography is stylish, and for the most part, it's effective. We have slow push-ins with the camera on a central character, and then also a good mix of alternating tight and wide shots. There's also a good use of landscapes as well as aerials to give us the feel of the space, and at times it's used to either give us perspective or to keep us at arm's length from some of the characters. Other times, though, we're pretty up close and intimate. There are also some sequences that look and feel like they're music videos, as we have a rap or maybe a heavy music track accompanying some slow motion action, including gunfights and explosions. It was surprisingly enjoyable. The fights and special effects are a little less than convincing when it comes to the violence. I mean, we see punches pulled and movements before an action is completed. Like, if somebody is going to get shot or stabbed, they react noticeably before the action actually happens. This isn't all the time, but when those do happen, they are distracting. And some scenes just break out and dance. At first, this was weird to me, but because it was consistent throughout the film, it began to fit well, and I actually enjoyed them. Some of the dialogue and delivery are less than good too, especially with a character named John. That guy's acting is stiff and it's terribly unnatural. And I really enjoyed some of the writing, but there were portions that seemed oversimplified, or they seemed written in a way that regular people just wouldn't speak that way. Terms and conversations were almost dumbed down for the viewers. Now maybe that's a translation issue only. I watched it in Tamil with English subtitles, so they may not have accurately translated the verbiage, but instead just kind of gave us the general idea or the context of a conversation. There are some time jumps or scenes that appear with a character being in a situation and no context for how they got there. When that would happen, the transitions really did need some work. Now, this wasn't a frequent occurrence, but it was there. James Cosmo plays a convincingly terrible and racist villain. I love his acting, and he's easy to hate. Now there's a portion of the story towards the hour mark that feels like it will be very predictable and obvious. One part was, but then the story didn't do everything I thought it would, and that was great that it wasn't as predictable as I thought it was going to be. There's a social commentary also occurring throughout as it addresses immigration in England and some views on immigrants. At points, this takes on a lot of prominence to the story, and I found it interesting and I enjoyed the message. Something that I found a little jarring, or maybe it was just strange at first, is how the movie uses its storyline to cover different genres as the movie progresses. First, it's a gangster action with some comedy, then it transitions to a bit of a romantic drama, and then it transitions again into a social drama. And it continues to move through these genre focuses as the story goes along. Now, the elements of the other genres are still present throughout. It's not just a standalone thing, but there are definite tonal changes in different sections of the movie. The runtime seemed a little daunting at 2 hours and 38 minutes, but for the majority of the film, I was engaged and I didn't feel the time. The pace was good, but at the times I felt the length were mainly when the tone and the genre would shift. I think there was an opportunity to tell a more concise story without sacrificing the message and the feel, but as it is, it's still not too immense of a time commitment. The more the story went along, the more I found myself enjoying the ride. The characters are quirky, but they're very engaging, and the story tells an interesting and compelling tale with effective social commentary. The gangster theme mixed with a hero story works well, and it drew me in. The action is also entertaining, despite some of the flaws in the effects and the timings. And don't let the runtime scare you if you're thinking of watching this. There's no sexual nudity, a ton of profanity, and violence. I give Jagame Thandhiram 3.5 out of 5 couches. So what are you watching right now? Let me know what's on your binge list in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.